Hello again, this is Christy Ducey. I'm a nursing student with Indiana State University, and today I want to talk to you about individuals that are not vaccinated against COVID-19. Your learning objectives are to evaluate your knowledge of the virus and vaccines to protect against COVID-19 infection, to successfully interpret the information out there to determine fact from fiction, and to prepare you for vaccination and to encourage others to get vaccinated as well. But first, please pause the video, take a minute to take the quiz linked below, and then return for the rest of the presentation. Okay. What is COVID-19? Well, it's a new kind of coronavirus that was previously never seen before in humans. There are many types of coronaviruses. They are a family of viruses that typically cause colds and flus in humans. Some viruses are also found in some animals, and some can be transmitted between humans and animals. Some believe that SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19 disease, jumped from animal to human. In COVID-19, the coronavirus enters the body and attaches itself to the cells in the body. The virus changes your cells by injecting instructions into the cell for replication of the virus. The virus replicates itself within the cell until it is released. Then the virus moves on to attack more cells. Your immune system kicks in, but the SARS-CoV-2 virus infects some of your immune cells also. So your immune system really kicks into overdrive and releases more immune cells that wind up causing damage. Two of these immune cells are known as neutrophils and killer T cells. In all the confusion, these immune cells start ordering healthy cells to kill themselves. This leads to damage and scarring of healthy tissue. Inside the lungs, the viruses use spike proteins to attach itself to epithelial cells lining the lungs. Alveoli within the lungs, where oxygen is exchanged into the bloodstream, suffer damage and the lungs can no longer function efficiently. Fluid builds up in the lungs, and the lungs are left unprotected from bacteria. When breathing becomes too difficult, you may need to be connected to a ventilator. A ventilator is a last-ditch effort to save the patient, though, because damage and scarring to the epithelial cells that line and protect the lungs may be too great to recover from. Additionally, bacteria that leaves the lungs and enters the bloodstream can critically overwhelm the body and cause sepsis. COVID-19 has taken over 707,000 lives so far in the United States alone. Last week in the U.S., 67,597 people were hospitalized and 19,535 people were in the ICU because of COVID-19. Nearly all hospitalizations and deaths now are unvaccinated. Approximately 60 to 65% of the U.S. population is currently vaccinated. There are variants out there like the Delta variant that can be deadly to those that are unvaccinated. The vaccine helps protect from severe disease and death caused by the variant. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky cautioned, "Do not underestimate the risk and serious consequences of this virus." There are two types of vaccines currently available. Messenger RNA is the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, and then the viral vector is the Johnson & Johnson Janssen vaccine. Messenger RNA works by putting code inside your body that tells your body to build this spike protein, which your body will then recognize if you come into contact with coronavirus, and it will build antibodies to protect you against the virus. A viral vector vaccine works by taking a piece or a part of another virus similar to coronavirus and using that to teach your body to build the spike proteins in which your body will then recognize and build antibodies to protect against. With any vaccine, it is normal to react with symptoms like low-grade temperature, body aches, or fatigue. There's a lot going on with your immune system that causes these symptoms, and it shows that you're having a good immune response to the vaccine. A list of ingredients can be found on the CDC's website. I like that these are all recognizable ingredients: sugar, salt, potassium, cholesterol, amino acids, regular building blocks. None of the vaccines contain eggs, gelatin, latex, or preservatives. All COVID-19 vaccines are free from metals such as iron, nickel, cobalt, lithium, rare earth alloys, or any manufactured products such as microelectronics, electrodes, carbon nanotubes, or nanowire semiconductors. There are some rare but serious complications that have been reported in a very small percentage of the population. Of the more than 186 million individuals who have been vaccinated, only a handful of individuals have reported these symptoms. Thrombosis or thrombocytopenia syndrome after the J&J vaccine. It's extremely rare, but it was reported in women younger than 50 years old. Guillain-Barré syndrome after the J&J vaccine occurred mostly in men 50 years of age and older. Anaphylaxis is a possibility, but only about 2 to 5 people per million experience anaphylaxis. And then there's myocarditis or pericarditis among people ages 30 and younger who received mostly the messenger RNA vaccines, the Pfizer or Moderna. It was particularly in male adolescents and young adults, but again, it was extremely rare. People should take into account reactions that they have had in the past to vaccines of any kind, and whether you have anaphylaxis to anything else. People that experienced these symptoms have likely extenuating individual circumstances, like perhaps they're allergic to nuts, bee stings, any number of things that cause anaphylaxis, and that can increase your chances of experiencing anaphylaxis with any vaccine, even the vaccines that protect against COVID-19. Guillain-Barré syndrome is also linked to vaccinations, but it's, again, very rare. And if you have not experienced it in the past with vaccines in childhood, you are not likely to experience it with the COVID-19 vaccine. Also, thrombosis or myocarditis, things around the heart. These individuals likely had other issues that complicated the situation. So really think about how you've experienced vaccines in the past, how you've dealt with them, and if you were fine, you should expect to be fine after the COVID-19 vaccine as well. Hospitals and ICUs are overwhelmed with COVID patients. Many supplies and much of the equipment are always in short supply. The staff are exhausted and working beyond a reasonable capacity. Many other people have had to postpone important surgeries because there are no resources available for them. Chemotherapies for cancer treatment have been postponed. People need to realize that their choice to not get vaccinated is not just an individual choice. Their decision impacts everyone in their community, particularly those at greatest risk of severe illness or death due to an immunocompromised state. The COVID-19 vaccines are effective. All 3 vaccines are effective at reducing the risk of serious illness, hospitalization, and death from COVID-19. Moderna has shown to hold its efficacy, and it's holding it at about 93%. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is shown to be about 71% effective. And Pfizer began at 91% efficacy, but it has fallen to 77%. That's why the FDA has approved a booster dose of the Pfizer vaccine to be administered at least 6 months after receiving the second dose. And moderately to severely immunocompromised patients, or those receiving immunocompromising medications, should receive a third dose of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine to improve their immune response. I would encourage everyone to get answers to your questions, think critically, and then get vaccinated. We can end this pandemic together.